Welcome back, Nerd Squad. My name is Roya Destroya, and this is Top 10 Nerd. We all know that rush of excitement you get when you find out your favorite comic is going to be turned into a movie. We're all also very familiar with the confusion when something in the film doesn't quite add up to the original stories or characters. Sometimes the choices the film developers make turn out to be awesome, and other times it goes south really quickly. So let's take a look at the top 10 differences between comics and their movies. In the number 10 spot, we kick off with Suicide Squad. So Task Force X is a team constructed of the world's most treacherous villains and psychopaths who are forced to cooperate with a government they hate. And when they were portrayed in the 2016 movie, what did we get? Caring friendship and heartwarming loyalty. Yeah, I know, so sweet and everything, but sounds nothing like the chaotic and ragtag bunch from the source. I mean, did Deadshot seriously care more about a woman he barely knew than his own daughter to decide now was the first time in his career to miss? Coming in at number 9, we have Wolverine. Hugh Jackman is now universally acclaimed as the face of Logan, but this came at the cost of disloyalty to the X-Men comics. Straight from his introduction in The Incredible Hulk, Wolverine was far from Hugh Jackman's stature. He was a squat ball of rage, standing at 5'3" and clad in a ridiculous yellow suit. In fact, the first actor considered for the role was Glenn Danzig from The Misfits, who ultimately turned down the role. In the end, Hugh got the role. 6'2", People magazine's sexiest man alive, Hugh Jackman. Fans initially were outraged at the sellout, but in the end they realized that he truly did embody the role, and a little eye candy is never bad. Next up at number 8 is Watchmen. When the 2009 Watchmen film came out, there were a few minor changes for the sake of brevity, such as cutting out some backstory details and barely addressing the Keenak, but a glaring difference between the comics and the movie is the complete scrapping of the Black Freighter subplot. Tales of the Black Freighter was a meta comic with an ongoing story in the Watchmen series about a mariner struggling to make his way home. It served as a metaphorical parallel to the main story in Watchmen, but unfortunately the film just didn't have time to include it at all. The whole plot, however, was released as a short film shortly after the Watchmen movie, which was a very nice treat. In the number 7 spot, we have Big Hero 6. This 2014 film was Disney's first take on a Marvel comic, super exciting, but because of this, there are a variety of differences between the source material and the adaptation. However, the biggest is probably Baymax himself. In the comics, Baymax is a much more traditional looking robot, complete with the ability to transform into a very large half man, half dragon, half not really sure. However, in typical Disney style, Baymax was transformed into basically a giant marshmallow. Not only was his appearance entirely different, but he was also much more human and much more huggable, and goes a lot better with a mug of hot chocolate. Coming in at number 6 is Deadpool. Lucky for us, the 2016 film depicted one of the most loved Marvel characters very accurately to the Deadpool in the comics, complete with the sassy one-liners. We can all agree Deadpool's greatest weapon oftentimes is his words. Now, Deadpool did appear in video before, still played by Ryan Reynolds, in the 2009 X-Men Origins Wolverine film. Now what the developers decided to do was sew his mouth shut. Yes, they took the merc with a mouth, and they took away his mouth. Clever. Next up at number 5, we have Guardians of the Galaxy. There are many differences between the comics and the movie here, but I'm going to focus on everyone's favorite tree to hug, Groot. We all fell in love with the gentle and selfless Groot, who had the ability to make one line communicate everything he needed to. I'll give you one guess on what that line was. However, in the early Guardians comics, Groot actually speaks quite a lot. He even pays a courtesy visit to Earth at one point to let them know that he and his tree army were taking over. This loss of English abilities isn't so much as a change from the movies as it is a follow-up of more recent comics where Groot has lost the ability to form other sentences. Oh, and in the comics he was also frequently depicted as about 25 feet tall. Can't really put that on a movie screen. Next up at number 4 is Civil War. The 8-issue Civil War comic series ended with Captain America's assassination on the steps of Capitol Hill, a pivotal and shocking twist in the series. But according to the developers of the 2016 film, this ending was never even in the question. They felt death among the main cast would derail from the impact of the Avengers shattering, so instead they kept him alive to see his team fall apart. Not sure which ending is more depressing. In the number 3 spot, we have Spider-Man. Everyone who knows Spidey is familiar with his ability to shoot webs from his palms and swing from building to building. webbing. But originally, in the comics, these webs did not come from his palms at all, but were actually from mechanical web shooters that he designed himself. However, it was the 2002 Spider-Man movie that decided to give Spider-Man the ability to produce organic webs and shoot them directly from his body. Cuts down on the hardware, but can you imagine having to make all that webbing inside your body? Where is it even coming from? Coming in at number 2 is Logan. Yes, more Wolverine for us. The 2017 movie Logan was based off a 2008 Wolverine story called Old Man Logan, which follows the life of Wolvie as he trades in his claws for a mundane life as America has fallen into the hands of the villains. In the source material, Logan claims that Wolverine is dead and gone, and because of this, he swears never to use his claws again. However, because this would make a boring movie, the movie version of Logan doesn't share the same pacifism. In fact, a few minutes in and he is already ripping some thugs a new one. Perhaps it would have been interesting to see him struggle even just a little with not wanting to fight. And finally, in the number 1 spot, we have Iron Man 3. The change from the comics to the film threw perhaps one of the biggest curveballs on this list. The 2013 movie finally introduced the long-awaited villain, the Mandarin. But did it really? Turns out the movie revealed that Ben Kingsley was none other than a hired actor playing the role of the Mandarin, and the real villain is still at large, effectively altering the comics canon. The reason behind this total twist was that director Shane Black wanted to preserve the mystifying terror surrounding the villain. So was your terror preserved, or was it replaced by anger and confusion? So those were the top 10 differences between comics and their movies. Let me know in the comment section down below which film adaptation do you think got it right. My name is Roya Destroya, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another nerdy list.